Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to The Big Issue. My name is Selorm Adonoo. It is a very sad morning. It's been a very sad week, and Ghana mourns. This morning, we look back at the tragedy that hit our country earlier in the week, where we lost 8 of our compatriots to a wicked and tragic helicopter crash that happened somewhere in the Galamsey Range Forest Reserve. Could it have been avoided? Was it just an accident? We'll look at all the issues that have come up around this, how the bodies were conveyed, the president's speech, what the president has asked for, 3 days of mourning, and the plans we have to finally put the deceased, our gallant men, to rest. A number of things have happened after that. The president has appointed interim persons to act in the positions of all these people and all. But the nation is mourning. How must the nation take this time? Are there any reflections we must have? That will feature prominently in our program today as we try to make sense of the happenings of the week. Also, we will spend some time on a matter that would have otherwise dominated the week had it not been this tragic event we had. The matter of cocoa pricing. Government has increased the producer price of cocoa by some 62% in dollar terms. The minority is saying that it is a rip-off. That wasn't what was promised. Meanwhile, Cocoa Board and government have said that it is commensurate with happenings on the world market, and that 62% of 62% in dollar terms increment, it's really good. We will look at all of that and see what the real situation is, what the truth is, and see what the cocoa farmers also think. The show is live and interactive. We are on 020-444-7033 or 0549-986-996. We'll be happy to share your views with the rest of the world. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll provide you some updates on the unfortunate happening, what is being done so far, and then we will introduce our guests and then get into the discussion. This is The Big Issue. Once again, you're welcome.
In Ghana, West Africa, the mornings are somewhat, if not for the perfect companion. What a good day to start. Work is always effective with NASCO Home Appliances. Classic home appliance for the fisher folks. And Nijepa, I want NASCO feel. NASCO, bring home happiness.
In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensa.
for social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters. Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensah.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 1 TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel 1 TV and let's grow together.
You're welcome back. This is a big issue on 97.3 City FM, live also on Channel 1 Television, on YouTube, and the rest of our socials. We are mourning. The nation is mourning. A 3-day mourning period is being declared by the government in honor of 8 of our gallant men who died in that helicopter crash in the Adansi area in the Dampian Rainforest Reserve. And it's been a very sad event. 8 persons, usually, very young people, a lot of them in their 40s and below, and of course 2 of them quite elderly. All of them being government functionaries, plus 3 service persons, 2 cabinet ministers, 2 former ministers, 1 government appointee, and then 3 crew members of the Ghana Air Force traveling to an event. We don't know what happened. Investigations will unravel that. And they crashed into the forest, middle of nowhere, and it had to take the locals to walk through the forest for over 2 hours to get to the crash site, deep in the forest, before the military and other first respondents could get to the scene or the site of the unfortunate incident. The chief of staff, carrying a very heavy burden, had to be the one to break the news officially to the Ghanaian people, even though there were news all over the place that some tragic event had happened, names were thrown about, but we all waited patiently for that moment we didn't wish for. The chief of staff, Julius Debra, appeared before the people of Ghana at the presidency, before the presidential press call, and a number of ministers and government appointees anxiously waiting to hear what the news was, to break the news that we had lost 8 of our countrymen. This is the chief of staff, Julius Debra, announcing for the first time the tragic event of Wednesday.
I have the unpleasant duty, sadly, to announce a national tragedy involving the crash of a military helicopter this morning around the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash: Dr. Edward Kofi Omane-Boamah, Minister for Defense; Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Muhammad, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology; Alhaji Muniru Mohammed Lemonad, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture; Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress; and Mr. Samuel Abuaji, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. The President and government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice. Thank you.
Well, that's the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, announcing the heavy news to the people of Ghana. Now, a lot of events began after that. He declared or announced that flags were to fly at half-mast, and as we speak, flags are continuing to fly at half-mast. Now, members of the political class, together with family and friends, continue to lay wreaths in honor of the 8 individuals who lost their lives in Wednesday's tragic helicopter crash. The president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, is in Ghana to show solidarity with President John Mahama. The New Patriotic Party has also pledged full support as government prepares for the state burial scheduled for next Friday. Channel One News' presidential correspondent, Akosia Ochri, has this in her report.
The First Lady, Lodina Mahama, visibly shaken, shared in the nation's grief. Key members of the National Democratic Congress stood in solemn silence as they mourned members of their party.
This is a very sad day or week or period for all of us to see our beloved colleagues in this tragedy. We are here as Council of Elders of the National Democratic Congress to lay the wreath in honor of our colleagues.
We've lost good people who should have been around to see the success of the second NDC.
In a moment of shared grief came a call for unity.
These gallant men died in the course of duty, and so we should forge ahead in national unity and not politicize their deaths.
Grief comes to all Ghanaians. This is not just me, it's not the NDC, it's all of us. This is a national tragedy.
Are we going to see full participation from you, your delegation, the MPP in the burial process?
Oh, well, you can expect it. I mean, this is not a partisan issue. It's not a partisan issue. It's a national tragedy. And regardless, you should expect full participation.
Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio joined the nation to mourn. The families continue to mourn. Leaving their pain in the hands of their maker.
God knows best. We are just, as human beings, we are just passing by in this world. So I have not much to say.
Questions continue to linger about the future of the families of these 8 persons, with calls for care and compassion.
All the celebrations and the mourning will be off. It will be left to individual women who were married to these gentlemen to grieve together with their children. And that is the time Ghana should show that it won't never forget today. And we should cater for and look after the children and the wives of these noble Ghanaians who perished in the line of duty.
So that was a short report put together by Akosua Ochri, correspondent at the presidency. Now, so a number of things happened after the major announcement of the death of the people. Teams were formed. The chief of staff led one team to Koforidua, to the home of the late Dr. Omani Boama, defense minister. And another team led by the vice president, Professor Jenano Pokrajima, also went to the residence of Alhaji Dr. Murtala Mohammed, environment minister, to officially go break the news to the family. Indeed, we must put in context that usually these things are done with the family first, but because of how social media has become and the news all over the place, it was important for government to speak on the matter before physically going to meet the families. So other delegations led by regional ministers, etc., were dispatched to the various homes of the other fallen heroes in the regions, and they also went to officially break the news to the family people on behalf of government. So the president spoke subsequently, which we will bring to you shortly, and he announced a number of things. So today there will be an event at the forecourt of the State House, and tomorrow, next week, the funeral, the state funeral will be held for the people. In the meantime, the remains of the heroes have been sent to South Africa for forensics to identify really whose body is which one. We must also know that because of the nature of the accident, the fact that the persons were bent beyond recognition and their bodies dismembered, it was difficult to identify whose body was what and what to give to which family, hence the forensic identification process. Also, we knew that earlier that day there were announcements made by our brethren from the Islamic community, two of them Muslims. Announcements were made that they were going to be buried the next day in line with Islamic tradition. But that decision, had to be overridden by the state because proper identification would have to be made so that when the bodies are given to the families, we know and we can be sure that the parts or the remains each family has is the right one for their son or father or brother. So that's how we will be playing videos and providing you updates. But this morning, very packed show, a number of guests we have to deal with various aspects of this. The nation is mourning, which is very important. And how do we deal with the situation as a nation? We'll handle that. So my guest this morning, Bishop Fred Korankye Mensah, is a pastor at the Transformation Assembly. He's a counseling psychologist. He's my guest this morning. We will have the first few minutes with him to help us understand how we should deal with this. Nana Yao Akwada, doctor, is the Executive Director of the Bureau for Public Safety. Richard Kumado, Security Consultant. Mustafa Gbandi, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC and is Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency. Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Franklin Kujo, President Imani Africa. Darrell Bosu of Arocha, Ghana, will be my guest on this segment of the show. So this is what we have. I'll take a very short break. When I return, Bishop Fred Korankye Mensah will be our guest to help us go through this moment. Don't go away.
Mlewe
Yeah, welcome back. This is The Big Issue, 97.3 City FM and Channel 1 Television. The show, as always, is live and interactive. You can join us via WhatsApp line at 020-444-7033, and that will soon be displayed on your screen if you are watching on television or on YouTube. Also, you can join us via WhatsApp line, again, 0549-986-996, and we will be pleased this day to read out your comments to the rest of the world. I've been joined in the studio by Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensah. But before that, let's speak to Hafiz. Hafiz Tijani is our man on the beat. He is our Middle Belt Bureau Chief. He is presently with the chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asindi Uketia, who are doing a few rounds, visiting some people, etc. Hello, Hafiz. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Where exactly are you? What's happening there? What can you report? All right, Hafiz's audio is not the best. We will have to reconnect that and then get back to him so we hear where he is, what's happening there, and how relevant that is to what's happening. But Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensah, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you this morning. I've only been watching you. We didn't know that we were going to meet on a platform like this on this day. How have you been? How are you taking the news?
Well. I have been very sad. I have been very broken. This is very devastating. Everybody is down, but we need to look at this through the lens of scripture and also look at it through psychology. When you look, one of the things that I have been excited about is how religious coping mechanisms have helped in these seasons. Listening to some of the people, some of the families process this painful incident, I heard one Islamic cleric say that there is a verse in the Quran that says, "From God we came and from God we will go." So they have learned to embrace it. Christians, on the other hand, also are looking at it from scriptural perspective, trying to understand the mystery of life. Like Solomon tried in the book of Ecclesiastes, he talks about life under the sun. One of the things scripture says is that man has a few days, and these days are full of troubles. Jesus also indicated in John chapter 16, I think verse 35, he says, "I'm telling you all these things so that you will understand that in me you will have peace, but in this world you will have trouble." So inasmuch as it is so painful, devastating, heartbreaking, we have to try to understand it through the lens of scripture. It's difficult, but Selorm, death is a necessary part of life. It is unfortunate that good people, relatively young people, intelligent people, one of them, I know him, Honorable, the MP from Tamale.
Okay, Mutala.
Yes, I know people who were in class with him. They became my classmates in secondary school. We have talked. It's so painful. But you see, when we try to look at it through the lens of scripture, it gives us a little comfort that these are part of life. Jesus said, in this life, you will have trouble. You will have trouble because we live in an imperfect world where there are errors. You will have trouble because we live in an imperfect world with people who are not perfect. You will have trouble because for those who are religious, there is an enemy who wants evil for us. So such is life. It's been very difficult, but we look up to God.
The most hardly hit persons will be the immediate family,
yes,
the wives and children, and even their parents, extended family, etc. In this moment, what should they be doing? What should we be doing to them or for them, and what should they be doing themselves?
Grieving is very necessary. Anytime you lose something, you go through the psychological process of grieving. And it is so difficult and very complex, full of very intense emotions. Sometimes you are crying, the next time you think you are okay, the next time you are down. So grieving is a very complex situation. So I believe that the immediate family, first of all, I have touched a little bit on religious coping mechanism. They should look at this in the light of the scriptures, the Holy Scriptures, the Islamic Holy Scriptures, the Christian Holy Scriptures, that God is in control. God is the one who gave, and it will not happen if God does not permit it. It will not happen if God is not permitting it to happen. I think the Muslims believe in that. The Christians also believe in that. So let's draw close to God. That's the first thing I will recommend. Let's turn on to religious coping mechanisms. Let's look for religious family. Let's look for people we can stay with who can help us. I was watching the incident in Koforidua, Omani Buama's mother. I saw her pastor, I saw her church choir. They were singing hymns to comfort her. Those things will help a lot. They will help a lot. And then if we can do that, I think we will be relieved a bit. Number two, we should learn to express ourselves. You know, emotions are gifts from God. They are part of the human being. Unfortunately, in this part of our world, it's very difficult to express emotions, especially with men. You know, we have been raised and conditioned to believe that bemensu. But in times like this, we should be comfortable expressing our emotions. If you feel like crying, go ahead and cry. If you feel like being angry, you see, the grief process, anger is part of it. Sometimes you are angry.
Angry at what?
Angry at God. Why did God allow this to happen?
And we can do that.
Yes, no, you are free to do that. Anger is a human emotion. Even God gets angry sometimes. Jesus was angry in the scriptures. You see, so it's okay. When you feel angry, you are angry with God, you are angry with the system, you can be angry with yourself, because sometimes you think that, oh, I could have done something to prevent this and I did not do it.
Would that not be blaming yourself or somebody for an incident that is happening already? And if we keep blaming ourselves or blaming others, I mean, we do not fully grasp the situation, because we would have shifted blame or responsibility onto somebody.
You see, Selorm, grieving is not logical.
Okay.
And grieving sometimes is not even, excuse my language, sensible. People who grieve, they go through a lot of emotions. And sometimes we just have to allow them to express themselves. All right? Because somebody could think that if I am a wife to one of the victims, I would think that I could have stopped him. Why did I not stop him? It's all part of the grieving process. So not necessarily apportioning blames, but it's an emotional process that people have to go through when they are grieving. So allow yourself. Allow yourself to cry if you want to cry. Allow yourself to be alone if you want to be alone. But please don't be isolated. There are times that when people are grieving, they prefer to grieve alone. They want to be alone. That is different from isolation. God has blessed us with people. God has blessed us with family. God has blessed us with friends who can be around in the time of grieving. So embrace the people around you. Don't be isolated. But if you want to be alone, you can ask for that and grieve alone. And let me talk about we, those who are not directly hit, we are there to support. It's very important that we also know how to grieve with people who are grieving. Now, in the Bible, a man by the name Job, he had crisis. One day, 8 people die in his house, just like we have experienced in our dear country. And then he had 3 wealthy friends who flew in from their various destinations to come and mourn with him. So it's important that friends and family mourn with those who are hit directly by this unfortunate situation. But then we also have to empower them to mourn with them well. See, when people are mourning, Job called the people who came to mourn with him miserable comforters because they did not mourn with him well. They made the process more difficult and worse for him. So if you are mourning with a loved one, you have to be equipped, you have to be empowered.
How do we mourn well?
Great. Number one, things we say when people are mourning is very important. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything, but we are in a hurry to comfort the people, so we say the wrong things. For instance, you can go to somebody and say, God knows best. How does that make sense to a grieving person?
It's something we commonly say.
Yes, that's the problem. So we have to equip people to
But indeed, God knows best.
You see, one of the things that we have to learn is that when people are mourning, like I said,
it's not logical.
Grieving is not logical. Sometimes it's not even sensible. So we have to be very sensitive to the emotional needs of the people who are directly grieving, the people we are helping to grieve properly. We have to be careful. The things we say. It is God who gave and it is God who has taken it. You see,
all these are not correct.
They are,
because this is like the format.
They are scriptural.
Yes.
But you see, one of the things my psychology professor mentor said to me is that you pastors, when people are grieving, stop telling them it is well. That's not what they want to hear. When they have gone through the grieving process to a level, you can bring those things in. These things don't make sense to them. Tell me God knows best. God knows best by taking a young child's father away. God knows best by allowing people to go through this excruciating and painful death experience. God, it doesn't make sense to them. So instead of being in a hurry to speak, just be there with your presence. Okay? In a time of grieving, your presence is very important. Your words are secondary. So just be there with your presence, study the environment, and say the right things. When they are crying, you can give them a touch, you can hold their hands if it is allowed by their tradition and by their culture, and then just be there with your presence. The things you say can worsen their situation. I remember when my father died. My father died when I was 19. I was getting ready to go to the university. And my father told me that it is God who, my pastor rather, it is God who has taken your father. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. I need my father here to pay my school fees. What does God need him in heaven for? You see, if you can't say the right things, just keep quiet and be there with your presence. When they are crying, you can, and you see, one of the things we also do is that when people are crying, we try to stop them. But crying is part of the process. When they are crying, you can pat their back and encourage them. You encourage them to cry, because once there is pain inside, it comes out through an opening, the eyes. It will come out as tears. Jesus cried and Jesus wept. Jeremiah chapter 9 verse 1, he says, I wish that my eyes were fountain so that I will cry this pain out. Now allow them to express their own emotions, and then just let them be themselves. Don't force them out of their grief. You see, because we are different and we grieve differently. You know, the experts will tell you that grief takes between 6 months and 2 years.
6 months and 2 years?
Yeah, sometimes people can grieve forever. Just allow them. Allow them to, it's their experience. Allow them to go through it. And then most importantly, let us pray for them. Prayer works. Let's stand with them in prayer. Pray with them and pray for them. When I say pray with them, I mean sometimes when you go to them, you can hold them if it is allowed by traditions and culture, and pray with them on your own. Pray for them that God will sustain them and God will help them.
Wow. So you said things we say. What else is there to do? We are mourning with people. I mean, so you talk about things we say. What else can we look at?
Let me say this. Sometimes when people are mourning, assistance, it could be financial, it could be physical. In times like this, they need help. You see, don't go asking them, can I help you? It doesn't make sense to them at this time.
Or is there anything you want me to do for you?
Don't ask those questions. Look for a need and meet it. Look for a need and meet it. It's a part of being there for them. Look for a need around, errand to be run, things to do, help them to do it. And then if you can, support them financially. Wise King Solomon said, money is an answer. You see, sometimes people grieve so much because the person gone is their breadwinner. The person gone is the hope of the family. Especially in this situation, every one of the people we lost is a great person, is a person who is like a pillar in their family. So if we can support financially, it relieves people of pain because money is an answer. If you can support them financially, give them some money to grieve and to grieve properly.
And so these are the people, the people closely affected by this. The nation at large is mourning. What should the nation be doing? The nation is also hurt. The nation is trying to pick itself up to heal. What should the nation be doing?
I pray. I prayed so much for our president. I prayed so much for members of parliament. I prayed so much for cabinet because this hits so hard. So I will say that we should grieve properly. We should go through the process. We should accept this because acceptance, the stage of acceptance is very important in the grieving process. You see, when you are grieving, you go through things like shock. You are shocked, and then you go through things like denial. I believe that some people are still in denial. This is not happening. I wish to wake up from this sleep and this nightmare. I wish to wake up and tell myself this is not happening. So you're going through denial, you're going through anger, you're going through a lot of processes. And the last process is acceptance. Sometimes you have to come to the point of accepting that this is really happening. This is the new normal. This is real. This is a reality. I have to face it head on and then deal with it and put it behind me and go forward in life. So we should allow ourselves to go through the process of grieving properly. And then I would say that after we have grieved, we should also look at our systems and make sure our systems are working better. Because some of the things, you see, some things cannot be stopped, so to speak. Other things can be stopped. There are things we can do to prevent something. So when we come back from our grieving, we should check our systems and then do better. You know, and then let me also say, we religious leaders, we should be careful the things we say and the things we do. It is very important. In times like this, people are looking up to us. And then the slightest wrong thing you say will increase somebody's pain. For instance, I see a lot of people saying, and I said this and I prophesied and I said, this is not the time for this. You know, it should even be a dent on us. If we are gatekeepers of this nation and this happens, if we are the spiritual leaders and this happens, it should be a dent on our spiritual authority. It is not the time to be saying, I prophesied and I said this and I said that. It adds pain to us. You know, we are grieving. We are going through a lot of pain. This is so excruciating. And the last thing we want is some of these things. So please, clergymen, spare us this in this moment. Let us grieve quietly and let us grieve nicely. People also say, we thank God that this one was not a part of the team that went. It's okay. It could have been worse. But this is not the time to be thanking God for somebody who was saved from it. How about those who were not saved? So like I said, sometimes the best thing to do is to shut up, is to keep quiet, pray for the people, and be there for them.
And what is there, are there any lessons we are to be taking from this? We see the country coming together. We don't know how long this is going to take before we get back to our usual, politicking, being at each other's throat, etc. But are there any lessons we can learn from this period moving forward? And indeed, in conclusion, I will call on you to pray for the families and pray for the nation. But
a lot of lessons.
Is there anything we can take from this?
A lot of lessons, Selorm. A lot of lessons. One, it's very difficult for me to say this at this time, but we have to say it. It's a hard conversation that needs to be had. We need to check our systems. Check our systems. Spend money on things that are worthwhile. Not misuse money, but spend money on things that are worthwhile.
Like what?
You see, when people are grieving, it is not everything we can say. Yes, so I am careful not to put a lot of things out there. Let's focus on the grieving. But let's say that we can invest in things that matter. Maybe later these conversations will come up, but we should invest in things that matter, things that are life-saving. Number two, we should understand life. You see, whatever you are doing, do it well. Mutala, I am in love with that gentleman. I am in love with that gentleman. I saw his video. He was admonishing politicians that if you live your life anyhow, there is a day you will stand before God and give account of how you lived your life. You see, we have to understand life, that we don't keep the time. Nature keeps the time. Nobody knows when he's exiting. So live life to the fullest. When I say live life to the fullest, I'm not saying just enjoy yourself and, just live life for yourself. No, let your life count. Let your life. One of the reasons we are grieving so much is that every one of these people are assets to the nation. They are connected to a lot of people. They are taking care of a lot of people. So ask yourself, if I go today, what will be done behind me? How many people will feel my absence? So live life. And you see, Selorm, life is no life until it is impacting on other people. Life is no life until it is extending to other people. Touch lives. Be honest. Live life as if today is the last time you are living. Scripture says, whatever you do, do it with all your might. Because in the grave where you are going, there is no wisdom, there is no work, there is nothing there. This is your life. Live it to the fullest.
Thank you so much, Bishop. Kindly share a short word of prayer with us and with the nation.
Shall we bow our heads in prayer? Father God, we come to you because there is nowhere we can go. In this painful season, in these difficult times, we turn to you as our hope. We turn to you as our comfort. You are the God of all comfort. We ask you to comfort this nation, comfort our president, comfort his spouse, comfort the cabinet, comfort the party, comfort Parliament House, comfort every Ghanaian. Father, touch our hearts in the name of Jesus, and we pray that this affliction will not happen a second time. We lift up prayer and we declare that this will not happen a second time. Lord, I heard a lot of people saying a lot of evil things that will befall this nation. We stand in prayer in the name of Jesus and we intercept and we cancel those words in the name of Jesus. We pray for your covering. I declare Psalm 91 over Ghana. I declare Psalm 91 over the people. Father, we dwell under the secret place of the Most High. We abide under your shadow. We will say of the Lord, you are our refuge and our fortress, our God. In you we will trust. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much,
Pleasure is mine.
Fred
Pleasure
Crunchyman, a pastor
Pleasure
in Transformation Assembly. He's also a counseling psychologist. He's been my guest in the first part of the show. Thank you so much. The rest of my guests are ready, but The president, after some time, spoke. Indeed, he was hit very heavily by the news, and so it took him quite some time to put himself together. The president, John Dramani Mahama, addressed the nation, and this is what he told the nation.
Good evening, my fellow countrymen and women. It is with a profoundly heavy heart that I address you tonight. Yesterday, a tragic helicopter crash in Adanse-Krofom claimed the lives of 8 cherished members of our Ghanaian family. The victims of this accident include 5 passengers and 3 dedicated members of the Ghana Armed Forces. Among them were Dr. Edward Kofi Omanibuama, Minister for Defense; Alhaji Dr. Murtala Muhammad, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central and Minister for Environment, Science and Technology; Alhaji Muniru Mohammed Limuna, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator; Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress; Samuel Abuaje, Deputy Director General of NADMO; and Squadron Leader Peter Anala of the Ghana Air Force, Flying Officer Chum Ampedu of the Ghana Air Force, and Sergeant Ernest Ado, also of the Ghana Air Force. This tragedy represents a deep personal loss for me. I shared a close bond with many of those individuals who died. Our nation is grieving, and on behalf of the government and the people of Ghana, I extend my deepest condolences to their families, friends, and their loved ones. Know that our entire country mourns with you. We share your pain. Your loss is our loss. A loss of dedicated public servants, intellectuals, and individuals who tirelessly work for a better Ghana. These 8 individuals dedicated their lives to Ghana's progress. That their final moments were spent in service is a testament to their unwavering commitment. We have lost some of our nation's brightest minds, and this is a moment of shared heartbreak, a time to reflect on the preciousness of life, the sacrifices of public service, and our gratitude for those who dedicate themselves to the well-being of our fellow citizens. Squadron Leader Anala, Flying Officer Ampedu, and Sergeant Ado were dedicated members of our Air Force, embodying the best of their profession. Alhaji Muniru Mohammed Limuna was a humble yet effective public servant. Samuel Sapon was a respected statesman, and Mr. Samuel Abuaje was a promising young leader. Dr. Omanibuama was a brilliant and dedicated leader, and Alhaji Dr. Murtala Mohammed was a passionate voice for his constituents and a champion for environmental stewardship. These gallant men each served Ghana with distinction. And as we mourn, questions about the cause of this tragedy are only natural and important. And I want to assure the families and the nation that the Ghana Armed Forces has initiated a full and transparent investigation into the circumstances of this crash. An investigative board of inquiry has been set up to investigate the cause of the crash. The flight data and cockpit voice recorders have both been retrieved. All 8 of the bodies of our departed comrades have been retrieved, and the government is in close touch with the bereaved families about identification of the bodies and final interment. In this moment of national grief, let us remember that we are above all Ghanaians, united not just by our nationality, but by our shared hope, our shared humanity, and now our shared sorrow. Let us set aside our differences and offer our collective compassion to the bereaved families. This is not a time for division, speculation, or political point scoring. It is a time for strength, for empathy, and for the enduring Ghanaian spirit that still stands tall when all else has failed. Let our words be of comfort, our actions be of kindness, and our unity be the tribute we offer to those whose lives have been lost. To the families, to the Ghana Armed Forces, to the ministries and departments that have lost dedicated staff, and to the National Democratic Congress, which mourns the passing of valued members, may you find strength in their memory and their legacy. May we all be comforted by the knowledge that though they are gone from our sight, they remain forever in the spirit of the nation they so faithfully served. On Saturday, 9th August at 5 p.m., the nation will gather at the forecourt of the State House for an evening of reflection and memorial in honor of our departed colleagues. Books of condolences will be opened simultaneously at the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ghana Armed Forces headquarters, and the National Democratic Congress headquarters, and also the head office of NADMO from Sunday, 10th August to Thursday, 14th August. On Friday, 15th August, an interdenominational state funeral will be held for the 8 heroes at the Black Star Square. My brothers and sisters, my fellow countrymen and women, may God bless their souls, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
All right, so that was President John Dramani Mahama addressing the nation on that. We have Richard Kumado, security consultant, Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Dr. Nanayo Akwada, Executive Director, Bureau of National Safety, Daryl Boso, Arusha, Ghana, and of course you heard Bishop Fred Kranchi Mensah, who is pastor at the Transformation Assembly and a counseling psychologist, spoke to us earlier. These are my guests this morning. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program. But before that, there is something happening in Ashanti region. My colleague, Hafiz Tijani, is there, still in relation to this. Hafiz, good morning once again. Welcome to the program. Yes, we couldn't hear you clearly initially, but talk to us. Where are you? What's happening? And what can you report?
So they are going to the rest students of Dr. Samuel Sapon and in Kumasi and this Samuel Abwani to the 2024 parliamentary candidates for the National Democratic Congress of Kwasi.
Hafiz, I can barely hear you. I can barely hear you. Let's try again. All right. So Hafiz, I mean, it's in Kumasi. Samuel Sapon, who was a vice chair of the NDC, the chairman of the party, Asedun Ketia, is visiting his house with the family to commiserate with them and all of that, and Hafiz is there with them. So that's the context of this. But let me come in studio. Darabosu, good morning. Welcome again to the program. This, obviously, it's a very sad news that's hit everybody. And what they were going to do, we understand, was in relation to launching the responsible cooperative mining, etc., which was an attempt, or is an attempt to help deal with this Galamsey menace we've been talking about. But even before we get there, I mean, this obviously should have hit you like it hit everybody else, unexpected and hit so hard.
Good morning, Selorm. And yes, I must say that we are all in mourning. And I might even indicate that I was actually at the program.
Oh, you were there?
Yes, I was at Obuasi. We were all expecting all the big shots. I mean, even His Excellency the President was on the bill to be at the program. And I think right from the early beginning of the program, you could see amongst the people at the high table that something was not going well. And I mean, that was when I also received a message that, look, something has happened. There's been a plane crash, even before it got on the news and all of that. But we still didn't have much detail. So I can say that, I mean, when the details came and the fact that these people were coming, these 8 people were flying to the occasion, it really hit very hard. And it's very sad to see that These are people who got up in the morning, got on a helicopter to come to a program, like you said, a program that's, as we all know, was meant to bring some sort of hope and also try to correct some very devastating menace of Galamsey that we have all been experiencing. For it to lead to that kind of tragic circumstances, leaving families grieving, the whole nation and mourning, is for me, I think, also very heart-wrenching and really heartbreaking. And it's something that all of us really need to take the opportunity, reflect on the loss, at the same time also take time to ask ourselves what brought us here. I think for me, it's what is really also very important. Yes, we are mourning. We are really, I mean, feeling the pain of the loss. I'm particularly sad about the families. I mean, these people left their houses in the morning, they went out there, and they never came back. And if you just look at the circumstances that led to their death, I mean, you just can't think about it, Selorm. So I think, yes, we are in mourning, but also we need to really reflect deeply what brought us here. If you look at the mission for which they were on and what eventually came out as an unfortunate incident, we really need to ask ourselves, say, look, it should never happen again. It should never happen again. So I'm really, really sad.
We'll get into that. So you were at the event, you heard there was some plane crash, but of course the details were sketchy.
Yeah.
You didn't at that point know that the crash was related to your event?
Not at all, not at all. It was much, much later, almost towards the end. But I mean, you knew people at the high table that something was up, and everybody. But I'm sure the program went quietly also with, and I think I also appreciate the way they managed the situation on the ground, and then the details came later and all of that. I think that's also maybe why, because nobody knew. The Honorable Regional Minister left the program to really go and attend to the emergency. I guess it was when as the details came in that we could also get sufficient information as to what was really happening.
So did the program go to its conclusion? The program ended? Because we saw videos of the regional minister speaking to the lance minister at the place. And I don't know what he told him, but the lance minister lost his balance a bit.
Exactly.
And then he had to leave. Did the program end? Did the lance minister give his speech? I mean, how did the program end?
Well, the program, you know, like I said, I'm sure the news of a plane crashing, a helicopter crashing, was what was communicated to them. So there was not much detail. Like I said, I even received a message without detail. It just said, look, a helicopter coming to your program has been involved in an accident. So, I mean, nobody knew. And they were all going to just share details later. So I know that at the point where the regional minister was talking to the Honorable Lance Minister, it was to communicate this sad incident of a helicopter crashing. But the details was what came later. So the program really, I would say, proceeded quietly and as it was planned. It was right at the end of it that the details came as to who was involved and all of that. And then I saw vehicles moving quickly out of the place to try and get to where they could. I mean, if they could provide some support. But I guess by that time, the worst had already happened.
Wow, I see. Let's talk to Richard Kumado, who is a security consultant. He understands a lot of these things, military aircraft, Ghana Air Force, and all of that, and what his understanding of the issues will be or are. Good morning, Mr. Kumado. Welcome to the program. Very sad event indeed that 8 of our compatriots will be lost in this tragic manner. Hello, Mr. Kumado, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Kumado? Well, Mr. Kumado is a security consultant. He has understanding into how some of these things operate. And he is my guest on the program, but I don't think he can hear me. Mr. Kumado, if you can hear me, kindly unmute and talk to us. I still think he cannot hear us, even though he is on. All right, let's speak to Haruna Mohammed, who is General Secretary of the MPP. Haruna, good morning. Welcome to the program. This is a devastating piece of news, and it has shattered the whole country. We see that from your side as well. How are you dealing with this?
Hello. Selorm, I don't know. I'm straining very hard to hear you. I've not heard your question.
Okay, I'm saying that it's certainly a devastating piece of news for all of us. And I'm just saying that your side obviously might have been very hit or had hit with it like all of us. And how are you dealing with it?
I think today the network is very terrible and very bad. I believe that you're talking about the national tragedy that has befallen the nation, Ghana, and the call by His Excellency the President for unity to prevail in these particular circumstances. We, as a political party, we mourn with the families and His Excellency the President and the entire people of Ghana with this particular tragic incident that has befallen Ghana as a whole. It could have been anybody. It could have been me. It could have been you. It could have been any other person. These are individuals who were on duty in serving the nation, and in a worse circumstances of a tragedy, the good Lord brought this upon Ghana, and all of us, I am pained, everybody is pained, and yesterday I was at Honorable Mutale's house. He has been a very fine gentleman. We've had positive interactions, despite the fact that we have different political divide. There is always one nation all of us look up to. I find it very difficult to run commentaries on this matter, and I must take the opportunity to thank the leadership of the New Patriotic Party for the manner in which we have demonstrated sensitivity in terms of what has happened to the good people of Ghana. They were ministers of Ghana, they were serving Ghana, members of Parliament of Ghana, and I think that we must look at a better way in addressing such circumstances. Even though nature is something that we cannot say that we can block the work of nature, but there are certain things that we have to put in right to ensure that certain things does not overtake us. We must also realize at a point in that when we are calling for unity and all of us coming together, unity must be served in purpose, and unity must be a continuous improvement. We should not wait to have a national disaster or a tragedy such as this for us to imbibe unity. Unity must fall within the circumstances in which all of us live. We must tolerate each other. We must know that politics should not be the room to divide us. The fact that we have political power should not set the tone that somebody should go angry in your house. Somebody should lose his job. Somebody should find himself in a way that does not. Let's use this opportunity to build and get each other on board and make sure that the sensitivity of politics and life must drive the focus of development in Ghana. I think that the youth of this country, these people are very young. We must learn and get this and let this be a turning curve to tell us that just as I'm speaking now, my mouth or my life can be ended in any moment, that I will not have the opportunity to dare anybody or tell somebody about something that is not going to inure to the benefit of the people of Ghana or even yourself as a citizen. So it's a very painful thing. Who are we? Who are we to question God? And that is why in Islam, when such things happen, we say, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. From him we come, and to him we go back to. He does what he pleases, and we can only give that praises to him, the Lord. What it is left for us to do as Muslims is to pray for the dead. There is nothing, absolutely no material thing that we can do. We have to pray for them. Nobody will dodge death. Death will definitely come to you, but the time that you don't know. So for me, in this particular moment, let's call for national unity. Let's call for serenity and cleanliness in our quest in political power, to make sure that we let unity and truth and genuine love for each other to drive the force. There is nothing that stops us from loving each other genuinely. And Selorm, I am so much devastated. I have been very quiet since the thing happened. And this is my first time of having commentary on a national television today on this particular matter.
Great. We are grateful for speaking to us on this. Let's go back to Richard Kumado, who is a security consultant, and try again to see if he can hear us now. Richard, good morning. Welcome to the program. This devastation is huge. And from a security point of view, of course, investigations, we understand, are underway. First of all, give me your general thoughts about it, your first words on it, and talk to me about what the investigation should be looking at.
Okay, so it is said, if you consider the nature of what we are dealing with and what has just happened, one of the first things I wanted to say is that it is time we review and reassess our preparedness as a nation towards national emergencies. And if we are able to do that properly, it will help us to prioritize our national interests over triviality. Now, when it comes to the investigations, it will run through 4 cardinal areas. They will first concentrate on the history of the aircraft, which means that the aircraft has become an object of investigation. Then they will also check procedure to find out whether standard procedures were followed in such circumstances. Then again, they will look at the persona of all persons on board, particularly the crew members. Anala is a very experienced person. He has been a tutor for all these years. He has traveled the length and breadth of this country with some of these choppers, carry VIPs and VVIPs. Chum just came from China on a training, and among all the Africans who were sent to China, he came out as #1. Ado Mensah is a very experienced technical officer, and to the extent that they were the ones involved in this particular crash, investigations to look at standard procedure, find out what really happened. Then the last one will be what we call externalities. And one of those ones is where we are now, that the bodies have been sent to South Africa. The police have taken charge of the forensic, the DNA aspect of it. And Selorm, that is also crucial to say that it's not entirely surprising that Ghana has flown our compatriots and our comrades to South Africa for DNA and forensic related activities. Is to collaborate the intelligence, is to collaborate the investigations. It is also to confirm and affirm certain things that will be critical in coming up with the right analysis and the right conclusions. After all countries in the world do share their technical expertise with some other countries, particularly in times of distress and emergencies. And Ghana has played this part in the global space by sharing our intelligence and our technical ability. So it's not entirely surprising that we are where we are now. But I can tell you, these are the 4 to 5 cardinal areas of investigations, and we are waiting patiently to see the outcome.
A number of things have been said, of course, by people who are uninitiated about matters like this. The town folks, the village people, the farmers, said they saw that the aircraft was flying a bit low or lower than usual. What could that mean?
No, it's for the purposes of public education. Choppers such as the one we are talking about has 2 peculiar instances. When they are flying on instrument, they go very high into the sky. But when they are flying manually, then they can come as low, and it is the responsibility of the pilot to determine how low they will come and where they can land in terms of emergencies. if you look at the makeup of this particular chopper, it's a very flexible one, an adjustable one, and it plays various functions. And that is why when it comes to emergencies such as health crisis and picking up people for rescue operations and many of those ones, because it has the ability of going very high on instrument and has the ability of maneuvering as low as it can, they prefer to use them. And it is unfortunate that on this particular occasion, they did not come back home as they planned.
There were also talks about the weather. Could it be so bad at the time that the pilots could not see and so could cause the accident? Of course, the investigations will reveal all of these, but these were initial things that people around the place told us. A farmer, for example, said there was a lot of fog up there, and so he thought that that could have contributed to it. This is a farmer who knows perhaps next to nothing about aeronautics and all of that. But could that be a major factor, the weather condition?
It is also a known knowledge that choppers or helicopters do not have the flexibility Boeing 787 will have or Airbus will have. Those planes, when they have emergencies in the air, they may have at least 30 minutes or 1 hour to get to the nearest airport. With a chopper, when it's coming down, they do not have that luxury of time. So if they do not have open spaces like football parks where there are no electricity cables on the ground to put the aircraft, then they are likely to run into trouble. Investigations will show whether there's a mechanical fault, whether when they took off they have issues, or when they are about to land they had issues, or airborne issues. These are all peculiar instances that can affect both choppers and big aeroplanes. It could also be the fact whether there's a human error, there's inconsistencies or carelessness, or there's even somebody want to sabotage the whole process. And that is why the investigations will be comprehensive and it will be broadly done. And that is why I use the word the persona of the crew members, particularly all persons on board. What we are talking about, the fog will also be a factor. But Selorm, this is an experienced professor we are talking about. Anala has been in this business for years. He has traveled the length and breadth of this country. He knows the topology between Accra and Obuasi. Chum is a very smart person. And even in times of suicidal attempt, Chum could have taken off and taken over the aircraft and make sure they land. So these are all prepositions and assumptions on the table. But for we as investigators, we are looking at the core values, we are looking at the core elements, and we are looking at reconciling and affirming the facts as contained in the crime scene and as contained in the forensic examinations of the bodies. And so that is why we say to people, the bodies in South Africa are not just going for identification to identify who is this and who is that, but they will be taken through some other aspect of forensic examination, and it will help us to affirm and to confirm and to ascertain what actually happened on the aircraft. One other aspect which is very critical is that on this particular chopper, we have the two recording lens in addition to the black box. The history shows that the black box will be sent to the manufacturer and not the supplier. And either the Chinese come here or we send it to them for them to diagnose it for us. But with the recorders, we will hear the conversations among the pilots and among the crew members. And by now, I should be saying that we might have about 70 to 80% idea of what exactly happened, whilst we are waiting to confirm all the details before the national funeral on the 15th of August.
So are we confident that we will have the forensic examination results come before next Friday so that the bodies will be given, the families will have an opportunity to deal with the bodies, the Islamic brothers will also have the opportunity to deal with the bodies, etc., before the Friday, which is the day for the national or the state burial? Are we confident that the process of the forensic examination can conclude before that time?
Yeah, the investigators are mindful of that. And whatever happens, I believe the presidency or the military will update the nation. But I am very confident that they will do something as quickly as possible. And where there are issues and there are delays, they will allay the fears of the general public. The bodies have become objects of investigation, and a national one, of course, and nobody wants to leave any stone unturned. So that is the complexity and the sensitivity of what we are talking about. I can also understand people are complaining about the crime scene, and we all know the importance of a crime scene in terms of forensic investigation and aligning or collaborating evidence. Our crime scene department at the Ghana Police Service have the ability to get to the crime scene and reconstruct the crime scene in a manner that will also help the frontline investigators. So that thing, we have accused ourselves in this country for so long. This should not be the time for accusations. We are doing the right things at the right time, except the initial difficulties we have when our national planning agencies and the response teams have been thrown out of gear. Let's continue in this path steadily and very focused. And I believe we will get results, and the conclusions will be something we can look forward to in taking future decisions. Selorm, it's also important to say that it's not all investigations that lead to prosecutions. Some investigation outcomes may lead to decision makers taking a different approach, or it may lead to internal reforms, it may lead to reformations, it may lead to policymakers to have a new idea and to adopt other strategies. And some other ones may lead to discipline and punitive actions where crime is perceived to have been committed. So this is the broad nature of the investigations we are talking about. And I'm happy to know some of the people on these particular investigations. And I want to believe that they will put their integrity above all else, and they will put their national love and their national loyalty above all else, and they will do a good job.
There's a talk about the contamination of the crime scene, or of the scene of the accident scene. And people have also talked about how the bodies were conveyed in jute bag sacks or cocoa sacks, etc. Could it have been done in any better way, given the circumstances, at play at the time?
Yeah, I agree with you. That issue came up. I have taught crime scene for many years. I have checked with the pathologists, the doctors, and almost everybody. We have a medical scientist who confirmed to us on authority that as at the time they got to the crime scene, the bodies were very hot, so they couldn't have carried them in the body bags. So one approach and one option was that they should use a sack, which may not have the negative effect as body bags. Because I raised the question, where were the body bags when they got there? And as we said, speak to people, experts, and pick the expert opinion, one of the reasons we are getting in other sections is that body bags wouldn't have helped because the bodies were hot as they got there, and we needed to move them as quickly to Galamsey and hand over them to the military. Yeah, so those initial concerns were raised. But Selorm, when we got to Galamsey and the military took over, you can attest to the fact that they gave them the best they can and put them in a heavier chopper and brought them to the Air Force base in a manner that depicts decency, respect, and adoration to the dead. And I think we need to move from there. But like I said, it's also unfortunate for lack of public education. Some of our brothers and sisters got into the crime scene and have even picked up certain items into their homes. When we raise the issue, my understanding is that the MP in the area engaged with the chiefs and some of our compatriots in the area, and some other people have started bringing back some of the things they have taken, including a watch and all that. And so public education is critical in this country, which we don't do so well. NCC have no budget, and we don't educate people on some of these emergencies. It's all part of the reason why I'm saying that it is time to assess and review our national strategies when it comes to dealing with national emergencies, because it looks as if a lot of work needed to be done in that area. But I'm very confident and assuring that my brothers at the crime scene department of the Ghana Police Service, people I have worked with for over 10 years, once they get to the crime scene, they have the ability of reconstructing the crime scene. That will help the frontline investigators in order to establish and collaborate evidence they might be looking for in whichever direction.
I see. Great. Just hang in there for me. Let me speak to a public safety analyst, Dr. Nana Yao Akwada. Executive Secretary Director for the Bureau of Public Safety. He has done some work in respect of aviation accidents, reviewed hundreds of investigative reports, etc. And he is well placed to pronounce on some of these matters. Doc Akwada, good morning. Welcome to the program. Thanks so much for making time to join us on this. We've seen and heard generally about this accident. Of course, a lot of us are untrained in these matters. We only make comments based on what we see. But given your experience and what you know about aviation accidents, etc., what could be the likely cause of this, even as we await reports from the investigations? What are some of the possible causes of this?
Good morning, Selorm, and good morning to your panelists. Very good morning to your viewers as well. Well, I believe that there could be several causes, several causes. And having reviewed over 200 aviation incidents, I am not in a position to speculate what could have happened, because I know that it can range from sometimes as little as a wasp to something as minute as turning a knob from auto to manual. So it will be very difficult for me to predict or speculate what could have led to the causes. But we did issue a press statement yesterday, and we called for an independent investigation into this crash after the president, His Excellency John Mahama, has announced that the Ghana Armed Forces will be leading the investigation. We did call for investigations not to be led by the Ghana Armed Forces, by an independent party, because in this respect, the Ghana Armed Forces is an interested party in the outcome of the investigations. So there is a conflict of interest there. If the Ghana Armed Forces also investigates this incident, the chances that we will not get the transparency that we need is also very high. And considering that there is so much public anxiety over this incident, considering the numerous allegations out there on social media and at public quarters, we also believe that if the Ghana Armed Forces leads this investigation, it will undermine the public's confidence. And aside that, the global best practices under the International Civil Aviation Organization's Annex 13, which provides a framework for international standards and recommended practices for aircraft investigations, incident investigations. We want these investigations to be conducted in an independent manner, and then by an authority separated from the operator and the regulatory body. Look, we can draw several examples from across the world, right? In the United Kingdom, they have the Defense Accident Investigation Branch. This branch operates independently from the chain of command and reports publicly on its findings. Where there are security sensitivities, they redact their report and issue public summaries. Okay. In Australia, the Australian Transportation Safety Board conducts investigations into defense-related incidents with guaranteed independence. In Ghana, we have the Accident Investigations Bureau, the Air Accident Investigations Bureau. I have taken a good review of their the act that set them up. There is no mention of defense-related incidents, and so we are not sure if they have what it takes in terms of law. They have that locus to investigate this incident. So we are pushing strongly for His Excellency to consider setting up an independent investigations body. Look, in the US, they have the National Transportation Safety Board, which is our version, their version of our Air Accident Investigation Bureau. This body teams up with independent investigations body of the US Army, the US Air Force, the US Naval Guard. They have their various accident investigation centers, okay, that operates independently from the command structure. So where there is a public safety, interest, the NTSB coordinates with these accident investigation centers to carry out these investigations. We do not have that within our setup in Ghana. So we are not comfortable with the military, investigating themselves. We have lots of confidence in the military. They've done extraordinary sacrifices, for our country in the past. But on this occasion, we do not believe that they will do a very independent job. And at the end of the day, the public will be satisfied with the outcome of their investigations. Yes, it involves a military aircraft, but out of the 8 that are dead, there are only 3 crew members who are part of the armed forces, right? The Air Force.
But
3.
I don't. Yeah.
5 of them are high-profile public officers, elected officers, and high-ranking party members. So you can understand the general anxiety of the public. We need to get down to the bottom of this matter by having an independent investigation body conduct the investigations into this crash, so that at the end of the day, their findings will be acceptable to all of us. And Selorm, I know you want to ask a follow-up, but let me finish just
to throw a few things in there. So, of course, 5 of them appointees. Just one is an elected official. Omani Boama is an appointee, not an elected official. And Limuna and Samo Sabon, etc. So that's fine. But the point about the investigation, I'm not sure everybody on that investigation board is from the Ghana Armed Forces. All right, so perhaps the Ghana Armed Forces is also represented on the panel, or perhaps we'll chair it. But
Selorm, very good. That's exactly our problem. You in the media now, you are not sure which people constitute the investigation panel, and that's exactly what we are trying to cure. Okay, in tenets with, or in accordance with ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization Annex 13, code, we should know who are on the investigation panel. But according to the president, the Ghana Armed Forces is leading it. That is what we know. We don't know who are the members of this investigation panel. That's already the secrecy, the strict confidentiality has started. We are looking forward to getting a preliminary report within the first 30 days. It's not with the military leading this investigation, the likelihood that we will not get any preliminary report in the next 30 days is very high, because you and I know that the military operates in strict confidentiality, and the aircraft involved is, let's say the sister or our version of US Marine One, if you want, US Marines One. That's the aircraft that carries the president, or if you like, in terms of airplanes, we say Air Force One.
But do we know? So do we know whether this particular helicopter is the one that carries the president? And do we know whether, if the president was to travel, he would have been on this particular helicopter? I don't think we know that yet, do we?
Well, I think that's the information out there, that the president was the one who was supposed to go, and was that same chopper that would have carried the president. So our understanding and conclusion is that this is our US Marine One that carries the president. So we don't know what retrofitting has been done on it. We don't know what has been installed in there. We don't know the protocols that guide, the usage, the inspection before it takes off and all. So in this investigations, all that is going to come out. But we have said that at the end of the day, an independent team conducting this investigation could still do it and issue a redacted report because of the security implications. This is done the whole world over. It's done in the UK, it's done in the US, it's done in Australia, it's done in all advanced jurisdictions. So our serious concerns with this is already the secrecy that is emerging. Look, in very transparent jurisdictions, by now it's been over 72 hours or close to 72 hours today, we should know all the flight officers, the number of flight hours under their badge, okay? So that at least we can cure that public rumor that we took people who were inexperienced, people who did not know what they were about to fly high profile party officials, high-ranking government officials, and very important VVIPs. Is this true? Is this false? We should know by now how many flight time these guys have under their badges. Then we can cure it. So look, it's very important that this investigation is carried in the best, under best global practice situations, circumstances, so that we will be able to cure and allay the fears and concerns of the public and bring them along, so that at the end of the day, whatever findings we make will have the credibility that we all want.
And you don't think local context is important? I mean, perhaps maybe the institutional representation of the people on the panel could be good, but the names of the people out there, given the sensitivity of this matter, you think, given our local cultural context, the way to go is to still put their names out there? You think that's the way to go?
Selorm, I agree with you. We can hold up with the names out there because, look, we will not know every expert, within our jurisdiction. But we need to know. If you tell us the Ghana Armed Forces is leading it, based on that, we said no. We need an independent party. Tell us that we have an independent party. Name that independent chairperson of the investigation group, and tell us the rest of the people are coming from. They are civil aviation expert. There's a civil aviation expert. There's an observer from Defense and Interior Committee. There's a representative from so and so. I think that will be fine. We're not necessarily calling for individuals' names to be published, but we would like to know who are represented on this investigation panel. And I think that it's a call in accordance with international best practices, and it's a call that will ensure that at the end of the day, whatever findings are made, whatever conclusions are made, it will preserve the credibility of the investigation, ensure that the adoption, we uphold Ghana's commitment to transparency and public accountability.
All right, that's good. So we'll come back to you. In studio, I have Professor or Dr. Khalid, who is Economic Advisor, Office of the Vice President. The Vice President has been in the thick of affairs, chairing the Armed Forces Council and all of that. Just a quick thoughts from you. We'll take a break, then we'll come back and deal with other rounds of the matter. How have you been? How is the office? No bad news. The office should be very concerned.
Well, it's what I describe as a national tragedy, and that's what we've had since waking up to the early mornings of Wednesday. I mean, these are personalities, maybe bad pilots or military crew, that these are all political figures. If you're in the thick of things within the NDC space or within the government, that you would know and would have worked probably with on a daily basis. It hits so hard home, as you'd see, because of the sort of personal relationship you may have with some of them. Dr. Omanibuama was probably the last hand I shook at Kempinski after the health summit before going home on Tuesday night, only to wake up in the morning to hear this. I had a WhatsApp chat message with the Honorable Motala on Monday. Right, we were hoping to meet because we're neighbors, and we go a long way. The Honorable Lemuna, as many would know, recently got appointed and is still in acting capacity as Deputy National Security Coordinator. And we all met at a ministerial retreat, and I think that's when most people were extending congratulatory messages to him. And Dr. Sapon, as we know, within the Ashanti region, is quite a big wig as far as the party is concerned. And the young politician that moves around with him and Honorable Lemuna, who has contested, I think, one of the seats in the Ashanti region. Obuasi a number of times. Yeah. So,
Obuasi East.
Yeah. I don't know these. Yes, I do know a few of the pilots, some of that, but I don't know this particular crew, as it may be. But it's hard to you act strong at one point, and in your own quiet time, it hits so hard, and how you handle it, it's just because these are people, you know, fantastic people, and for us to just lose, or it's not death, they perished, and it's a huge loss, not just to the families but to the nation. You know, if you look at the experiences of Honorable Omanibuama having been deputy minister, moving through to be communications minister, now defense, which is very sensitive. So it tells you that he's baked himself through the political and public administration mill, right? And was about giving his utmost best at his optimal peak to the nation. And we have this tragedy. You look at the Honorable Motala from YEA, from his Nooks days, you know, very jovial and activist, down to earth, you know, the people's man, has been to Parliament, lost a seat, returned to be part of a cabinet. Tells you what he's gone through and what he had to offer the nation. So you look at the Honorable Lemuna as well. He's fantastic. I mean, public administrator who was a chief director, if I'm not mistaken, moved on to become a minister for Agric. At a point was Northern Regional Minister. And then in a sensitive role as a Deputy National Security Coordinator. Then Mr. Sapon, as you know, was also serving as a vice chair of the party. But I mean, this is not to neglect, much as I don't know the crew personally, but gleaning from the media and talking to their colleagues within the armed forces, as we commiserate with them. And being a squadron leader is quite an achievement. And if you look at it within the army, that's the rank of a major, right? And that's quite high up within the officer's rank. Right, then you have a flying officer and a sergeant who I believe has been doing this for some time now. But, you know, in having this commentary, I've been refraining to go into the details of most of this based on where I sit and what I see, because I think that is a very sensitive issue. In certain jurisdictions, this is very high profile because flying the Minister of Defense, it's top-notch security. Right, so I've refrained so much from actually weighing into the commentary, but in military parlance, that's what we call bush radio. And by bush radio, we were referring to the rumor mill. And if you have a defense minister who is exited in this tragic manner, and we have the bush radio so actively ripe, it's quite unfortunate, which is why I may probably want to weigh into some of these issues. And you spoke to Doc, who belongs to a safety agency, public safety agency. I was quite wary and concerned about his, he loosely using the word Marine One among other issues. Because, I mean, if you look at Air Force One, Marine One, these are designated aeroplanes to the president.
Yeah, but the point he's making is this is the aircraft that carries the president if he's traveling. That's his understanding. And he's relying on media.
So that's why I'm saying that we need to refrain from, if we cannot actively say that or authoritatively say this is what it is. When we make such comparison, we fuel the rumor mongering, especially
but
for
do we have such dedicated aircraft to the president like we have the presidential jets?
Yeah, I'm not in a position. I'm not in a position to, state that, because that is the functionality of the Air Force Command to come out and say this is what it is.
But can you confirm whether the president has used this particular aircraft?
The president has used several aircraft. I've used,
and this is one of them.
I'm unable to say if this is one of them, because all I do is I see an aircraft leave. Right, and per my security protocols, I'm not privy to most of this. If I did at first-hand basis, I will be able to, speak to it. It hits home harder also because in the line of our duties, we all occasionally get into choppers. I can't even say we flew on a chopper last week. I can't say if this was a particular one. Right. What doesn't help the public is, helis are not very luxurious air fleet. So you looking at it from a physical outlook, you cannot say if this is robust or this is good enough or airworthy enough until you are probably an expert to look at the documentation. Look at it. They look very ragged because of how they are built and what they are built for. Right. So, and they look alike. Because again, I was worried, even coming in studio, I was listening to your sister station, Joy FM, when I heard a former transport minister with the host. They were unsure as to which craft it was, because he said, look, this craft was brought in 2015. The host says, no, they were given to us by China 2 years ago. Again, Bush radio, in colloquial military parlance. The military understands. So if we have such high profile issues and the discussion is this murky, it's not really very helpful. Now, my expectation, my objective professional expectation is that I expected the media, in collaboration with the Ghana Armed Forces, you may be able to tell us how you have collaborated or maybe whether you had some resistance, to have a sort of decent stopgap in communication. And by having a decent stopgap...
We're not in good terms before this incident happened.
With the Ghana Armed Forces.
Yes, and the president promised to broker a meeting between us when our journalist colleague from multimedia was...
That's your particular media or just the entire media?
Was beaten, and the GJA had made some, had given us some marching orders. And so the president said he was going to arrange some material call. I mean,
I do, but I think that...
So that hadn't happened, so we're not...
But I think that this national tragedy should bring a certain level of
and sweep everything else under the carpet.
And you sweep certain aside and activate your professional antennas to see how we could all get into this. So my objective, as I said, we have a decent stopgap from all this rumor mongering happening. For example, my expectation was that when this happened, on your screens, what we see first are the names, age, rank, right? Year of commission, year of promotions or the several promotions that most of these flying officers probably might have had, years or hours of experience.
But now, I think you are giving the media too much work.
No, it's not too much work.
Given how the military we know operates in Ghana. The military is very secretive for whatever reason.
We're all talking safety, we're talking national security.
What I'm saying is the military issued a statement with the names, etc., of the officers. Nothing stopped them from adding those details you're talking about.
No, but
the media will then pick from there.
Yeah, but you also have your sources. You know how you get your information.
Yeah, but we don't want Bush radio.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you have the engagements. You get me? So if this had happened, we'll know. Because now people are comparing to other jurisdictions. Right? In the UK, US, for example, if you could fly a defense secretary, that's an equivalent of a defense minister. You have to probably have 1,200 to about 2,000 flying time experience or flying hours experience, right? Do they have this? These are questions that probably I never wanted to wade into, but we are beginning to get there because of the rumor mongering that is coming in, and which sometimes tend to be a bit insensitive, if you get where I'm coming from. So you look at all of these things, right? And the rank of the pilots, the Bangladesh, the squadron leader, just below a wing commander, I think, right? And as I said, compared to that. And they are very experienced pilots within the Air Force, right? So this is not to say that someone did wrong or right, but people have passed away, families have lost. It's a national tragedy. So when we put this out there and people have a full appreciation of it, then it stops the speculation and allows for a certain decent level of engagement to happen, right? That may aid, soothe the process in terms of what we term as a national tragedy, other than everyone throwing in, people even saying the president was supposed to travel in. This is high-level security information that nobody should really even put out there or speculate in the first place. So when we begin to have this, we even lose track of what we ought to do in terms of our air safety measures to prevent some of these things from happening in the future. Right. For it's
very well. I see where you're coming from, but it was widely announced.
Yeah.
Of course, those who were at the event were expecting persons in the caliber of the president to come.
I'm not saying the announcement was wrong.
I will take a short break.
I'm not saying the announcement was wrong.
Darebosu here was at that event. He's spoken just a few times. He will speak more on the matter, and we'll delve into what this should mean for us in our fight against Galamsey, etc. Of course, Haruna is on, and Andrea Pia Dankwa of ex-Kwa of the Movement for Change is also on. I'll take a short break. When I return, we will hear from all of them. Don't go away.
Looking for a one-stop shopping destination for all things made in Ghana? Eager to experience a remarkable fair that showcases the richness, creativity, and innovation behind Ghanaian products and services? Then get ready for the This is Ghana Exhibition 2025. The This is Ghana Exhibition highlights the brilliance of Ghanaian entrepreneurs, artisans, and businesses who continue to shape the narrative of homegrown excellence. This is Ghana's biggest trade fair and exhibition, bringing together SMEs, startups, research and manufacturing sectors, indigenous corporate bodies, and local creatives in one exciting space. The This is Ghana Exhibition 2025. Come explore, engage, and be inspired by the businesses and brands that are redefining Made in Ghana across every sector. The dates: Saturday the 6th and Sunday the 7th of September 2025. Time is 10 a.m. through till 5 p.m. each day. The venue is the Afo Sutherland Children's Park. For enquiries or participation details, call us on 0205 973 973. The This is Ghana Exhibition 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by MTN, EcoBank, and Side Hassle from EK Brand Consult. In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensa.
From social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensa.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 1 TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel 1 TV and let's grow together.
You're welcome back. This is a big issue on 97.3 City FM, also live on Channel 1 television. Your comments are welcome via WhatsApp line 020444 7033 or 0549 986 996. We're looking at the tragedy that hit the nation. President is urging unity amidst the pain that people are feeling in respect of the 8 who perished in that tragic helicopter crash on Wednesday. A number of things have happened since then. An investigation has been instituted into the matter. Of course, people are calling for some transparency in the process, that the military should not be leading an investigation of its own because it's a military helicopter in question, and so the military should not be seen investigating itself. It raises conflict of interest issues. At least that point is raised by the Bureau of Public Safety. Its Executive Director, Dr. Nanewa Kwada, is on the show and is forcefully pushing that point. A whole lot. National Days of Mourning. Today there's an event at 5 p.m., a night of reflection at the forecourt of the State House. On the 15th of August, that's where we will have the state burial or funeral for the 8 departed. In the meantime, samples of the remains of the 8 have been sent to South Africa for some forensic determination of which body parts belong to who and how that can be packaged for the various families and before the burial ceremony. And so a lot of that has been happening. High-level delegations have been dispatched to the homes of these people. The Vice President on Wednesday, for example, visited the home of Dr. Murtala Mohammed, Environment, Science and Technology Minister, and the Chief of Staff led another delegation to the home of Dr. Mani Buama, Defense Minister in Koforidua, where his mother lives. And we understand he's the only son or only child, indeed, of the mother. And so this wicked event has taken an only child away from the old lady. Very, very tragic indeed. Let me speak briefly to Andrew Appiah Dankwa, who is spokesperson for the Movement for Change. Andrew, welcome to the program. We saw your boss, Alan Chemanti, also commiserate with the families, etc. This surely is a tragic event. And what are your thoughts in respect of everything that has been happening and the discussions flowing therefrom?
Good morning. Let me wish you the panel members, my fellow panel members, good morning. It's been a while since I saw Daryl myself with his intake. And let me wish you all lovely viewers a good morning. Yes, indeed. Wednesday was tragic. A day that will go into the annals of this country as one of the saddest days.
I think Andrew Appiah Dankwa's connection is not the best. We will get him to reposition and we'll come back to him for his thoughts on this. But let me come back to you, Darrow. So for, I mean, tragic event, you were at the program, the Responsible Cooperative Mining Program, Skills Development Program being launched in Obuasi, the heart of mining in Ghana. And I'm sure this was one of the things government was doing to help address the issue of Galamsey. I don't know how successful that event was. I don't know how the event is going to, or the program is going to pan out from there or from here, given what we have just seen, the devastation that has occasioned that. But your view and many others in civil society and media is that this event should mark the turning point of our fight against Galamsey. Indeed, Honorable Vanderpoel says that we should finish the Galamsey fight. We should go after the Galamseyers and finish them in memory and in honor of these people. But of course, doing that is a lot of ask, given how we have been unable to deal with the menace in the past. How do we proceed with that?
Yes, Solomon, I think you've also, like I said earlier, touched on a very important matter. I mean, if you look at the mission for which they were flying, we cannot ignore what took us there. And for me, I think that's very, very important. I mean, Galamsey illegal mining, responsible mining is taking a lot from this country. Even before this tragic loss, and from our own, I'll say, investigations or review of reports from the media, several platforms, NADMO, several platforms, if you look at the number of Ghanaians who we've lost as a result of the illegal mining activities, the impunity in the field, the greed, pits collapsing, people dying, parents and children falling into abandoned pits and all of that, associated pollution, risks people are exposed to. You really come to realizing, look, Galamsey illegal mining is taking so much from this country. And this tragic loss really brings it to the height of the grief of what Galamsey is doing to us as a country. The loss touches on critical sectors of our economy, on defense, security issues, on issues of environment, Ministry of Environment, talk about NADMO and all of that, our relief services and all of that. So it's really, really important. And like you said, we think that this should be the turning point for Ghana in the fight against Galamsey. We cannot let this loss of these precious lives be in vain. And so we believe that if for anything at all, we are not even very close to really getting to the point where we say, look, this should be the end of Galamsey. This tragic situation should say, never again should we allow this menace to continue as it is. I am sad to, even whilst we mourn, also make the observation that sadly, Galamsey seems to be becoming normalized. Just like people get up and say, I'm going to the farm. People get up, I'm going to do gala. Gala. It is normalized, but this thing is taking our lives. So for me, I think it's really a point of very serious reflection, even how we are fighting Galamsey, the measures we have put in place and all of that. When I got onto the event grounds on Wednesday morning, I took time to take a look, took a few pictures, and really, it was a very cloudy morning. It was very foggy. I have some pictures that are, wow, this is very cloudy, and I was hoping that the launch of the responsible cooperative mining and skills development will bring some light, will shine some light to clear the path for good things to come. So it was really sad, eventually seeing what really transpired in the incident. So I think that we really need to let this mean something good for the country. I don't want to use the word, but this has become a sacrifice on the occasion of that particular day, letting us know that we cannot go back to the neglect, the inaction on all the things when it comes to Galamsey, all the things that we need to do that we are not doing. We cannot let this go to waste. So much has been lost. The sacrifice is so deep and so tough. Everybody must see this as a rallying point to bring about some change. Nobody should be allowed to go scot-free. There should be consequences for the police, for the military, for everybody, state, public, appointed, elected official who is supervising or superintending and has the capacity and power. If you are going to sit and negligently not do what you are supposed to do, this sacrifice should remind you of what needs to be done. And we need to forge ahead really much more decided and more decisively in dealing with Galamsey. I think that we cannot, deal with the issue as we have been treating for the past, I would say 15 years that we've been dealing with Galamsey. So I think we need to change the way we really tackle this issue and the way we really address the issue head on. There is no longer any excuse for us not to act decisively in dealing with Galamsey. This sacrifice cannot be left to go in vain.
One of the things which were being done to help the Galamsey, resolve the Galamsey menace was this responsible mining program. Talk to us about the program itself. What was
two components? There's a bit of the setup of the cooperative mining, and also they have the skills development component and livelihood support, which accompanies the program, more to enable people in these mining impacted areas to have access to skills. They can apply for livelihood strategies and all of that. But if you look at what they intend for the program to do, I have taken time to review the document, the policy document, and if you look at what it is in terms of its substance, I must say that except for a few very distinct changes, it's almost like the community mining scheme. In several aspects, they are all trying to create opportunity for people at the community level in most of these mining communities to also be able to have, it seems quite distinct from what the community mining scheme was, which was actually cancelled just before, right after taking office. But I think it's not without its flaws, I must say. Looking at the policy as it is, it is too much of a lot of bureaucracy in terms of cooperatives having access and even getting to get the license and eventually get onto the ground. And then there is the ministerial committee, there's a district committee, and there's so many tiers of supervision that eventually we think could even undermine the process of trying to make the process mining cooperatives simpler in terms of acquiring a license. So I think that we believe that this cooperative mining, yes, it's not so different from the community mining scheme, unless the government puts in place some very rigorous supervision and compliance mechanism. So far, it talks about all of that they are going to do. And I have said that, look, until we give them time to really start implementing and see in 6 months how they are really working what they indicated in the policy document. It's going to be very hard to say if this government is going to really stay true to its commitment and its promise. But if you're just going to ride on our experiences in the past, then I would say that, wait, maybe we're in for another surge of unsustainable mining if the government is not going to ensure strict compliance to everything that is in the policy document. That is where we can really go wrong. But I think that if we really are going to be very dedicated to the process, to the provisions of the policy, and everything that we have indicated, it should be able to bring things around for all of us.
I see. So do you know from where you sit, whether, of course, early days yet, but whether the program is continuing or will continue from there? Of course, I know when some of these launches are done, they have a roadmap. So maybe from tomorrow, registration is open or that kind of thing. Do you know if all plans are still on the table? Nothing is being suspended for now, given the tragic incident we've had.
No, there's nothing of that sort of information that has come to us. So I believe that it's going to be. And I think even the Honorable Minister was in the region still visiting Obuasi, mines and all of that. So I think that will continue. I even understand from the program that they plan to even visit some of the cooperatives that had already been registered. I don't know if that really did come about, but I believe nothing in the program really needs to be suspended now, because I mean, all that we think needs to be done is that the program needs to ensure that all the mechanisms for compliance are in place before they really roll it out. Because so far, I have not seen any systems or mechanisms in place to ensure that everything that they said the cooperative mining is supposed to do, they're able to really supervise it effectively and make sure that the things we say we are not going to repeat from the community mining are not repeated. And then really we're able to change 10 things around for all of us.
I see. Let me go back to Richard Komadu. Hello, Richard. If you are there, I mean, Galamsey, we say, is a national security threat. What lessons do you think we can learn from the incident of last Wednesday to push us to decisively dealing with this matter of Galamsey?
I think what has just happened is the rare reality, the harsh reality of trying to curtail or stop a long negative influence and impact of Galamsey. It has brought to the fore the issue of Galamsey and decision-making and national policy. I have not taken time to read through the document in the community mining policy they are trying to launch, but we have all witnessed and followed closely the effect on our communities and health and our food and the environment. It means that Galamsey, which we have been saying for all these years, that it has taken the position of a national threat against our state, will need to be tackled head-on, devoid of politics, and he needed a national focus to be able to curtail it. So let's learn the lessons. From next week, we will be asking the tough questions, and I believe the answers will be provided. But let me say something a bit about what my brother Nanaya was talking about and his concern. Selorm, it is true that from best practices point of view, transparency, objectivity, and openness in such investigations is key. I can also say for a fact and confidently that almost all our investigative bodies, the civil aviation, the military, the BNI, and the police, right from the moment the aircraft landed or crashed, have initiated some levels of investigations. And those outcomes, in addition to what the president has set up, will be discussed at the National Security Council meetings. And the Joint Intelligence Committee meetings will also invite all other persons on the committee who are not part within the National Security Intelligence Circle. So we can give a comprehensive sort of report for decision makers to take place.
I see. Interesting. Let me speak to Haruna. Hang in there for me, Richard. Haruna, I mean, what can we do? This is a national crisis. The incident itself is a national crisis. The Galamsey matter, another national crisis, and the two have found a way of coinciding. You represent or you lead a very huge aspect of the spectrum, the political class. Okay, I understand Haruna's connection is not really all right. So I think it's back. So what can we do from where you sit, ride on the emotions in the country now to help deal decisively with the concerns of Galamsey? So we can say that after this happened, Darrow calls it a sacrifice. After this sacrifice, we have something to point to, that after this, government and everybody came together and ensured that we stop Galamsey. What can we do from your side?
Selorm, well, the issue of Galamsey has become a national canker. We as a political party from the New Patriotic Party can assure you of a frank and objective-minded approach to how we want to deal with Galamsey. That is why we proffered solutions in the environmental aspect in our manifesto leading up to the 2024 general elections. We have had a cause to listen and also read in our brothers in the NDC and the various comments that they had made relative to the issue of fighting with Galamsey. And the very key points that they had made in terms of the Galamsey menace and the call for national emergency and to best of the acts with respect to those particular areas. They have reneged on those particular efforts. You see, we must be very truthful and be very honest and be very sincere in the eyes of the people when we are looking for power. The issue of Galamsey is affecting everybody. In fact, yesterday, after I had visited Mutale's house and I went into some parts of the areas, I saw water and I was...
Haruna's connection is yeah. All right. Haruna, go ahead. His connection, yes.
Kind of asking myself, so this is the only source of which this house that involved is something that is very determined. The MPP is very much prepared, in our mind, very clear that we will provide. You see, when you raise issues and when you raise or you bring solutions to certain matters and you come and renege on them, that public trust goes away. That public trust goes away. we must fight this head on, because Galamsey affects everybody. Even though I live in the north, but water from those particular areas, they find their way into other tributaries. And in the end, they will destroy other water levels that find themselves coming into the north and what have you. So for me, I am all for the fact that, let us be honest, and I can vouch for my political party, the MPP, that our honesty and sincere solution to Galamsey must take events. It must take processes. It must
all right, the connection to Haruna is a bit tricky. So we'll come back to when this connection stabilizes. Franklin Kujo, President of Imani Africa, has joined the discussion. Of course, Daniel Akwada is there, and Dr. Sharif Khalid is here, so is Darrell Bosu. Franklin, good to have you. Very sad moment. Your initial thoughts on this before we delve into the other things we've been discussing. I'm sure you have your own version of events, the persons involved, and what lessons you think we should draw from this unfortunate incident, Franklin.
Well, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Well, I guess everybody has been shaken to the core, and probably some of us the more, because we knew at least two of the individuals quite closely, more so Edward Manibwama, who many people did not know. I was actually an assistant to him when he was NUC's president. In fact, I served national service with NUCs, and how do I call it? Yeah, and of course, we were mates in Pope John's, right? We were sixth form mates, 1994 to 1996. So we were that close. Just that after the NUC's service 2003, I decided to go into full think tank practice, and then he decided to go into full politics, which, of course, was his terrain. And it's hard. It's really hard. Having said that, I mean, we talk often. I recall, many people do not know. Again, given the, I'm not saying closeness per se, but because of the work we do, he kept on giving me updates about his portfolio every now and then. We were supposed to meet. We missed our meeting in July, and then he said he would postpone it to this probably end of the month. Well, it didn't happen. Obviously, it will not happen. But those memories are carried with me because I feel that this is a gentleman who is an excellent gentleman, ambidextrous, smart guy. I mean, you could see his leadership all through when we were in sixth form. But sixth form, we were both leaders as well. He was a prefect, I was also a prefect. And, you know, anyway, look, let me just go on to say that it's painful, it's hard. While we commiserate to the family and commiserate to the rest of the country, it is important that people do not remind us of the pain, especially against some of the commentary regarding this whole menace of Galamsey. It's quite interesting that we have been trying to make it look as though something should be shared politically. Sorry, my good friend Haruna. I don't think we should be sharing this particularly. I mean, I think that if something significant had been done about this in the last probably 4, 5, 6, 7 years, probably wouldn't be here. Don't forget that the last time John was in power, he lost a nephew, I'm told, right? Major Mama must have been a nephew, Selorm, right? And to think that the gentleman comes back to office and barely within the shades of a lamb still, he's losing two of his most trusted generals. I don't know whether God was speaking through him to us. I don't know. I mean, God speaks in many wondrous ways. There are people who do not believe in God, but for some of us who do, this is just too close for comfort and too coincidental for comfort, right? But maybe it's also an opportunity to do some self-introspection and then see that maybe There might be some divine aspect. You know, I'm not preaching this morning, but I have a feeling that God just has a way of trying to, you know, maybe when God is angry, then decides that, look, whatever I've created, if people want to destroy it, maybe I found other ways of also cleansing the system, probably to remind people that, look, I hold the things I created on earth so dear. But anyway, the question is, should he have visited it upon the people, I mean, the current government, and should they have even visited it upon any government at all? You know, question really ought to be asked. But that's God and his wondrous ways. We can never tell. It is painful, as I say, nothing we do or say will bring them back, but at least the honor to preserve their memories. These gentlemen were sent to battle to fight for, fight against illegal gold and all of that. In fact, and I think there are so many moving parts to this whole thing that, in fact, some of us were just about working with some international organization. In fact, yesterday or so, my colleagues in the UK just announced that we won an award in order to fight serious and organized crime within the gold sector. In fact, we've done that within the ports. We're just about extending that work in the port. Just yesterday, I got information that a bid we put together, it was a global bid with an organization in the UK. We came up tops for the UK government. And so we are going to look at that. We're going to dedicate that part of our work to the memory. I mean, I think it's some things that have to be done, but by all means. But please, I beg every Ghanaian, every leader must be interested in this battle. And again, it's not just a battle for just the soul of the earth. You know, it's also a battle for the land spaces. But don't forget this thing has, I'm sure my good friend Richard Kumadu must have, I mean, tons of experience. So he knows all this, all the phalanx, if you like, the mutating nature of these fight against all these international, because this thing has an international dimension. No wonder some people are already speculating, oh, there could be some people within the Sahara. We don't know yet. I mean, the things I also heard, having been given high-level briefing, which made me made a post, and people wanted to eat me up, especially Harun's people wanted to eat me up on Wednesday. That I suggested that, look, the armed forces has got a lot of retooling to do. That besides, whatever happened, we are yet to know whatever caused the crash. We'll get to know, but it is important that at least the things for which they died for, I mean, painfully for, we need to redeem ourselves. This time we should do it well. It's not those times where it's not one of those things where, oh, within 1 month, 2 months, then we tend to forget. That's been the transient nature of this country. Everything just is on wheels. And you beg us believe that things that matter to us, if it is maintenance, we need to look at it. If it is retooling, how do you call it, keeping pristine our rivers, whatever we need to do, we should keep to it. I don't even understand how we humans, I don't even understand that. Something that gives you the gold from the earth, why don't you keep it well so that you replenish and then you get more? Even dogs, excuse my language, and cats, even when they are doing their usual stuff, you know, they tend to clean up, and then because they know that there are places they do it, and especially the well-trained ones. I'm not talking about those stray ones and all of that. But I'm just saying that the way we behave sometimes makes me feel that the fringe elements of animals are probably better than us. How do you go into a land, get resource, and then you leave the place dirty, murky, and then go away? Then what happens if you lost that fortune? You come back again to the same place. I don't understand what we are doing. But then again, beyond appealing to people's emotions, which never really work in this part of our world, I think the law must take center home. And I suspect that one of the things we started telling JM, even before he became president, that look, this thing, crack it well. Maybe begin with this state of emergency, not state of emergency across the country. It's something the NDC actually said they would do. And then let's crack this thing quickly. I've never understood how a resource could be found on the land, and then some people who live by the land will be poor, and others would rather come and take it out. I don't understand that. But anyway, that's the kind of country we have. So these are painful losses. If I have not, if I told someone, I shared a dream, but maybe, as I say, maybe this is spiritual, because I'm a little bit spiritual these days, you know. I'm a Catholic, by the way, but I can't say that I'm a chartered Catholic, not yet. But, you know, there's some spirituality I think is in the air. And maybe let me just put this out. I'm not doing this because I want to sound like those prophets that tell you they saw things before they happened. But, you know, on the night before this happened, really, I had a dream. And I had lost two siblings, boys, who were bent. And I was shocked because I don't have, I have two siblings, one a boy, one, how do you call it, a lady, 7 years apart. And I'm 49. She's 42. The other one is 7 years younger. And so at that moment I said, I don't know what this is about. I was in the office when one of my staff came and said, your boys are dead. And I said, which boys? You know, it shook me. It's the reason why I'm talking about spirituality here, because I'm not one of those people who have dreams and then all of a sudden I'm going all about saying, no, I don't do that. Of course, I've said that. I mean, I've been a student of Geoffrey Chaucer literature. I've said that dreams are actually come from people who overeat the night before. So, and for this one was special. And that's what I'm saying, that as John left office the last time, the nephew died. He comes to the office fighting the same menace, and two of the generals died. In fact, no more than 8. He was supposed to be on the plane, you remember? And even though people are taking after, Steve Wenger must have said, oh, God, you know, and that's another thing about God. So God loved GM and God didn't love those people. You know, these are constellations we need to carry fast. Hey, let me stop so that people don't say that I've converted to become a pastor yet. But I think we are spiritual. And on this day, we will remain spiritual. Strength to the family, the immediate family, the mom, and indeed Pojoba. As a Pojoba, as Pojo students, we are, and again, the whole country is obviously shaking. Let me pause here, my brother.
National security concerns, Galamsey, country very emotional now. People have said it's a good time to drive some real change, some real progressive things to end the Galamsey. We've been using some approaches in the past, if not really worked. Given that the nation is emotional now, the nation is seeing the real devastation caused, even these people, by the Galamsey menace. How can we ride on this to deal with this menace once and for all?
Hello. It's a question of attitude. It's a question of we paying.
No, but this question is actually to Akwada.
Sorry?
This question is actually to Nanayao.
Oh, that's sorry.
Okay, yes. Nanayao,
yes. Hello. I got a bit distracted trying to fix the window behind me. Are you able to repeat the question?
Yes, I'm saying that, I mean, the country is very emotional, and it was a Galamsey event they were attending. The fact that Galamsey itself is a national security matter, you know, how do we ride on the emotions of this to put in some hard decisions and some hard, you know, reforms to end the menace, Galamsey menace once and for all? Nilante Van der Poel says, let's finish the Galamseyers. What can we do to be so decisive in ending this fight, riding on the emotions the country is currently going through?
Well, thank you. I think that's a very solid question. But before I address that, let me quickly address a comment by one of your panelists in the studio when I made reference to the chopper as possibly the one that carries the president. Look, let's not make any fetish about this. I have worked with the FBI. I've worked with several public safety and security institutions in the last 17 years. I am very much aware of the security implications of my comments on publicly, so I will not make a loose comment, okay? There is no fetish about pointing to an aircraft and saying it's one that possibly could carry the president. Why? In the US, there is the Air Force One, there is US Marine One. Whatever aircraft the president boards becomes Air Force One. it becomes U.S. Marine One. Same in the UK. Okay, they have the Kitty Hawk and the Kitty Hawk One. That's one aircraft. Depending on the passenger, the call sign changes. So it's just a call sign. It's nothing security about it that we should all, make fetish about. If the PM, the Prime Minister, boards that aircraft, it becomes Kitty Hawk. But if it's carrying the Monarch, it's Kitty Hawk One. It's just a call sign. So there is no fetish about that, and I don't want us to go on and on with that, right? Now, coming back to your question about the security concerns and whether we should ride on the wings of this. Look, I would be glad that we can ride on the wings of this unfortunate incident to put Galamsey to rest. When we failed to ride on the death of Major Mahama, may he so rest in peace, I knew that something different must happen for us to be able to curb Galamsey. Galamsey is not an environmental issue. It's not just a national security issue. It's not just a human security issue. But if you break it down in layman's terms, Galamsey is a well-being issue. It's a very survival issue. As we speak today, experts have told us that our water is being poisoned, our food is being poisoned, our health, Franklin Kujo will have to tell us the economic aspect, but in terms of the burden on the taxpayer for our health is also going to go up. Okay, our lives are now going to be shorter than it used to be. We are going to have more health issues. That is how Galamsey should be painted to the ordinary Ghanaian. That is how Galamsey should be painted to the Galamsey communities. That it's not about the money that you get today. It's about the quality of life that you will live. It's about the quality of life that unborn generations will live. And that's why we must fight Galamsey. In the heat, at the peak of the fight against Galamsey, I was one of those persons who called for a shoot to kill policy, because there is no difference between a Galamseyer and a drug trafficker. For some of which in other jurisdictions, once you are arrested with drugs, you are executed. Okay, there is no difference between a Galamseyer and an armed robber who is ready to kill, to take your possessions off you. The only difference is that the other one is immediate, and then Galamsey is more long-term. So we must, as a nation, galvanize and do something about Galamsey. It's very, very important. And Franklin made allusions to the fact that those of us who operate in security levels are now even suspecting that other foreign elements are entering in, and they are, building sites, in our country and all. These are things that we have thought of, and they are not far-fetched. If we don't stem Galamsey, it's going to become a hard fight to do, because when we allow people with arms and ammunition, sophisticated weapons to engage or start, involving themselves in Galamsey, then it's going to be a huge, albatross around the neck of the nation. It's going to really, really be a tough fight for us. So I believe that Galamsey is devastating enough. It has lived with us long enough, but the time has come for us to, nip it in the bud, because at this time where we are now, with all these terrorists on our borders and within the region, if we don't stem it out, it will become a bigger problem, and it will go beyond Galamsey to something else that we all don't want to talk about.
Great. Doc, this is the head that wears the crown. All of these, everybody said, comes back to you.
Yeah, it does.
So how I mean, what's the thinking in the corridors of power, office of the vice president? I mean, we've done the same thing over and over, usually, I mean, generally, but we're not seeing the result. Can we ride on this to deal a death blow to Galamsey once and for all?
Yeah, well, I mean, before I start, I think I would also just take the opportunity to politely have a reaction to a comment that has been made by your expert. It was not to derail any effort or to say that he didn't speak well whatsoever. What I was saying is that, and it didn't demand excavating an experience of FBI to say that I understand, blah, blah, blah. But the point is this. If the president is not on the craft, you can't even bring, you mentioned that if the president is on a craft, that's where you say, regardless of the craft, it becomes Air Force One or Marine One. The president was not in the craft. So how does that even come into the engagement?
It could have been.
And he was not.
Yes, but
which
the point
is explicitly
is that,
clear.
So
So when we do this, all what I'm saying is that when we do this, we mount a discussion and open it up to some form of interpretation that could not have helped. That's all I'm coming in to do.
Let's just make progress.
So moving on, I mean, as you could see, yes, Galamsey, it's a menace. It's a canker that we've been fighting for all these years. And again, in doing this, as you'd agree, he was at the event that saw that. That was a giant, bold step by a government in their start and gentle strives towards ameliorating or, as it may, eradicating Galamsey. And in the course of that and in the line of duty, we lost eminent people that included the Defense Minister and Environment. And these are key ministries that has relevance. For me, even the high-powered delegation on the craft in and of itself tells us the essence and importance to which we attach to Galamsey, because we sent, bootstrap military people on the field to fight Galamsey. We've lost Major Mahama in that act. Environment Minister, very key to discuss. A national security coordinator, very key because a national security concern. So for me, we're trying to sweep that act or that bold act under the carpet and trying to weaponize Galamsey against our own selves. We know that this is not something we can stop in one day, right? That's not to make excuse for any government whatsoever. But can we rally to the fore, as we've seen, and say, look, enough is enough. And the enough is enough was part of the process that these gallant patriots got themselves on a heli to go and effect or launch a program that would, no program is perfect or no policy is perfect, which is why we have people like him in the third sector or the civil society space to help us tweak these programs to, dot our I's and cross our T's to actually get things right. And that's why we have different facets of society and public engagements in these lights. So for me, where we are now, we should not be weaponizing Galamsey in our shock and in our grief in the current state we are in the national mourning process. Weaponizing Galamsey wouldn't help the process. Can we allow this healing process to go through whilst the mechanisms that we are putting in place, which involves the very act that they were en route to when the unfortunate incident happened? I think that's where we should be. We've all been talking about this. It doesn't help anyone, right? And we all tell ourselves daily that if we don't stop Galamsey, it's going to go a long way to affect us. And we're beginning to see some of the impacts of it, apart from environmental issues. Even in the course of fighting and in the line of duty or national duty, we're losing lives. Just not lives of, lives of ordinary citizens, lives of eminent citizens, lives of, service officers, as was seen in the case of Major Mahama. So let's come together and see how we could solve it. You would see that in the corridors of power, it's been very solemn, right?
But that's a problem. That's what happens.
Yeah, when the incident, and we've cancelled the rest of the programs for the week.
After this cloud shifts, then we get back to normal things. Yeah. Nobody even remembers that this happened. So all the thoughts we've had, all the reformist ideas we've had around this, everything vanishes and we get back to things normal.
No, I wouldn't believe so, because that's what I'm saying.
But that's been when Major Mahama died.
When he died. But this time around, we saw a bold step being made. And the bold step was this initiative.
But he says it's not in his words, but it wasn't really a bold step. Said not so different from.
No, it's not so different, but it was a step.
A few things.
No, it was a step that was never taken.
But to be bold is
No,
another
when
one.
I say bold in the sense from where we come from as a government.
Because I said it's not different from the community mining.
What I'm saying is, he comes from a different world, which we appreciate, which is a think tank, the civil society world. Their role is to critique and input based on expert opinion, which we welcome, right? So if we say we have put up a bold step to fight Galamsey, and he says, okay, XYZ needs to be done to get it right, we accept it and we embrace in good hands. He was part of the delegation that went to it. It's for our recognition of his expertise that we have him present there. You get it? So, yes, I hope that when all the dust settles and I'm wondering how we may have closure to this, but as a nation, how are we going to move forward to, go back to pick up the ashes of this fight and to see what we can build, or the foundational grounds we can build with that in the fight against Galamsey. But yes, as I don't know how Monday is going to be like in the corridors of power, because of what we faced with as far as the shock and national tragedy is concerned. I mean, when this news hit, we all saw how leadership rallied to the fore. Security meeting with high-level security officials from the CDS, Naval, Bosses, and Air Force all rallied to the table, and the Chief of Staff. So in the presence of the Vice President, we saw how the Chief of Staff announced or made the announcement to the nation. Because, we had information from the grapevine coming or filtering in, but again, military command, you can't mention names of particular people when such an act until it's explicitly confirmed that this is it. So all of those protocols needed to follow. So once the meeting was, conveyed and it indicated that this was it, that announcement was made. And when the announcement was made, a quick decision had to be made to see how we could commiserate with these families. Another instruction of the Vice President, different eminent groups were put together. You had the Chief of Staff and the Deputy Chief of Staff moving to the Eastern region to commiserate with the mother of Dr. Amani Buama. Then you had the Vice President in the company of the eminent Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the Honorable Ato Forsen, the Minister of Defense, the Deputy Lands Minister, among other eminent leadership of the party, moving to that of Honorable Motales Home and that of the National Security Coordinator. Then you had the Vice President, mixing duties of constitutional duties and social duties as well, because there was the security meeting, that's the Armed Forces Council meeting being held. Which she chairs, yes. It was being held, and then she made her way to Dr. Amani Buama's residence. Then also, when we had the reef laying ceremony, after that, she was in the company of the president when they met President Kufuor, right, at the home of the president. And again, it was a solemn moment. Then in the coming days, as you would see, you found the Sierra Leonean president, landing in and going on also to commiserate. But, letters have been pouring from world leaders, from partners of the government, and from development organizations, among other issues. You cannot say you're looking forward to these events, but you can say how tonight is going to be like in their remembrance and also on Friday. But as we all say, I'm a Muslim, and we all say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, that to Allah we belong, and to Allah we will return. So we keep praying for their souls, and we hope that the fight against Galamsey, as we all would put positive minds to it and put an end to it.
Let me just take these two messages. Kofi Ansan Accra, so this is indeed a tragic event. God help us. Teko says, God help Ghana. May their souls rest in perfect peace. We'll read a few more of your messages on 020-444-7033. Just keep them coming in. Yes, you wanted to make a point. And
yes, sir, I just wanted to say that I think the country needs time to mourn. It's very important.
We have 3 days to do that.
No, I mean, I don't think we are going to get closure in 3 days. Exactly. This is not going to go away easily, I must say. And look, I think that every time we hear of a similar incident like this, we are going to be compelled to reflect on this loss. And like Doc said, closure we need, but I don't think we are going to find closure anytime soon. I mean, I don't want to bring this, but I've always said, look, there are certain families who have lost, their kids to Galamsey pits out there, and they have not, I'm sure they've not found closure. And this even compounds the problem. And now it comes really straight to the doors of the corridors of power. And that tells you that, look, it's something that we really, really need to deal with. So yes, closure will come eventually, but it's not going to be easy. And I think that as we go along in the fight against Galamsey, maybe the fact that we need to heal should maybe spur us on to be much more ruthless and brutal in our actions in terms of dealing with Galamsey. So I think that as we mourn, as we heal, we need to really deeply reflect and take everyone along with us. We can, and that for me is why I keep saying that, look, we cannot fail going forward. That's not something we need to do. Otherwise, then we are really not serious as a people.
Yeah. Great. Richard Kumado, in conclusion, of course, we hear that black box has been found, and this, just tell us this in 2 minutes. Okay, so yeah, I hear it's gone. Haruna, where do we go from here, really? Very sad event. We are hoping to come together. What role is your party playing? Will you be part of the state funeral or all of that? Must you be officially invited, or you'll just be there the way you attended the flower and wreath laying ceremony and all of that? What's the next few steps for you in your support to the state about this tragic incident?
Selorm, thank you very much. For funerals, some of us are family members of some of the affected or the deceased, and some national officers are very keen and very directly involved. The Deputy National Women Organizer like this is a junior mother for Honorable Mutala. Mutala's mother is a senior sister to the Deputy National Women Organizer, and a host of others that I can mention. Some of us have very close friendship apart from religion. So we are very touched with many of them. The party, when it happened, issued a statement, and our commitment in participating to ensure we give this great patrons of ours a befitting burial is something that the leadership of the party is very much concerned. And Selorm, it is also interests you to know that the MPP has ultimately been the highest, the party that has upheld the sensitivity of the levels of people in terms of emotional display and all that. When we lost John Kuma, all manner of statements, people saying Akin and saying a lot of things about the MPP, even saying National Poison Party and all those things, and then all manner of conjecture and all that. But we as a party, the leadership sat down and said that, no, we are not the same. We are not the same creature. Our values are not the same. Sensitivity is very key when it comes to these particular matters. And like I said, it can be any of us. It can be anybody. Look, the time is not known. God can do it to anybody. That is why we are fully on board. And that is why you've seen that His Excellency, the Vice President, went into the Jubilee House yesterday, participated in the wreath laying for the gallant patrons of Ghana who have lost their lives. It's very painful. One thing about life is that when it is gone, it doesn't come back. You will never test death, because when you test it, you never come back to tell how it is. So for us, this funeral is for all of us. They are citizens of Ghana. They belong to traditions, clans, and religions before they join political parties. And I think that all of us as a political party must be very sensitive. Let's stop playing on the emotions of people of Ghana. Let's stop being insensitive and cruel when we are towards getting power. Let's stop being insincere to God. Let's let God be. God exert His authority, and we as human beings be very truthful and sincere to each other. And that is what we're going to uphold. At the appropriate time, the MPP will speak on some of these particular matters. There are a lot of questions, a lot of dots that we have to cross, but we are very sensitive to when it comes to this particular matter. People are paid, people have lost families, children have lost their parents and all that. We must be sensitive and join them in making sure that we give them befitting burial, and also to shepherd and accompany them in terms of mourning and all that. I think that we are very sensitive to this particular cause, and full participation is going to be made.
Very well. Thank you so much, Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. Franklin, could you your final words on this, briefly?
Well, death is, some people say death is wicked, but death and taxes are said to be the only certainties of life, right? Isn't it? What I will pay taxes anyway. It's already happened. For those of us who believe in the resurrection, maybe on the last day would all come together again, and then maybe those who probably have to sit on the right-hand side of God will be called. But I'm sure everybody would account for the stewardship of the earth, the resources, which is the reason why we are discussing this. It has been badly managed, but at the day we will all account. That's all I've got to say. May the souls of the departed rest in Abraham's bosom. Thank you.
Franklin Kujo. Doc Akwada, your final words on this, 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be brief. The Bureau of Public Safety will remain committed to supporting a thorough, evidence-based investigations that delivers truth, accountability, safety improvements, not only for our armed forces, but for the traveling public officials and the nation at large. We will urge His Excellency, Mr. President, to act swiftly to align Ghana's investigation response with ICAO standards and global principles of accident investigations. Now, the best tribute we can pay to the departed is to make sure that we get results on Galamsey. And at this point, as a friend of Dr. Mani Buama and Murtala Mohammed, I would also say may the departed souls rest in peace.
Darrow, final words, few seconds.
Yes, we also on behalf of the Arusha Ghana and also the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey extend our condolences to the bereaved families and also to all Ghanaians. I think that there's an opportunity for us. This has been a big sacrifice, big tragedy. We cannot let it go to waste, and we wish that we all rally behind this, even as we mourn, to make sure that these things are not repeated.
Very well. Final words.
All right. May the good Lord rest them well, and may the nation heal and move on to do great.
This is how we conclude today's edition of the program. Very sad episode, whole show dedicated to this. My name is Selorm Adonoo. May the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace. Have a good afternoon.